Hello, everyone. Good morning. This is Glen Guyton coming to you live with a little coffee break. Been a busy week for me, a busy month. I don't know about you, but does January feel like it's been the longest month ever? Like the longest month ever in my lifetime. This seems like to be a slow January, but it's given me a time to think about a few things, especially uh, talking to my CEOs and executives and senior leaders in organizations. Uh, doesn't it feel lonely sometimes to be a leader, like to be at the top, right? To be at the top of the organization, to be the final decision maker can be a lonely thing. So how do we combat the isolation felt by CEOs and other executives? If you're in that top leadership position, you know what I'm talking about. I've led a number of organizations in the military, in the private sector, in the religious sector, and there were times when I was like the number two or number three guy, and I felt like I had a lot of freedom, a lot of flexibility. Right, I was a senior advisor to the top leader, and sometimes you just don't understand like the leap moving from the deputy or the vice person or the associate or the assistant moving into that top spot, right? When you move into that top spot, it can be a lonely feeling. So I just want to talk to you very briefly this morning to give you 5 tips for helping you combat that isolation, especially if you are a new executive, if you are a new leader, a new CEO. It's a big shift, right? From being the person that does everything, get things done, right? That's what we do as vice, as the associate. Like I feel like we're the problem solvers, right? When you're in that mode. But then when you move to the top spot, then it's different, right? You have this different view, you have this different interaction with people. People act like you've changed, and maybe you have changed because you are responsible for a lot more, and you have a lot of weight on your shoulders. So how do you deal with that? So I'm going to give you 5 tips this morning, and then I'm going to let you get back to your busy day. Get you a cup of coffee and sit back and listen to what I'm about to say. All right. So first, peer networks. That's one good way to help combat some of the isolation. And I know you're busy. You got a lot of things to do, and so you say, Glenn, you want me to add another meeting or another interaction to my schedule? Yes, I do, because otherwise you're going to lose it. But find a peer group of other CEOs and executives because no one understands what you're going through like another executive or another senior leader. So connect with other people that are leading organizations. Y'all schedule some time. You may have to do this, a couple of months ahead of time because you're busy. They're busy, you're busy, and it's hard to match those schedules up. But sitting amongst your peers and being able just to vent about what's going on in your organization uh, can be helpful, or just talking about the weight that you're facing as an executive or a CEO. And so it's important that you connect to a peer network, connect with other people that understand what you're going through. Uh, those groups can help you bounce ideas. You can bounce out ideas off of one another because, again, you may not talk about some. They might not be in the same exact job, but being in that senior leadership position, there are some commonalities that we all face when we move to that executive role. Number two, the other thing I would say is uh, invest in yourself, get some coaching, find some mentors, find some older leaders, older CEOs that have been there, more experienced. They may not be older; they just may be more experienced. I work with a young woman that's 10 years younger than me, but she's been doing uh, some of the work that I've done. She's been doing it longer. I started a little bit later than she did, so I talk to her from time to time about some business things, and it's a mentoring relationship, not necessarily a coaching relationship, but it's good to have someone that's been there, done that. So the same thing when you think about your executive role, go talk to some more experienced leaders that have been doing this for a while, and they can help you sort through all of the things that are going on in your head. Because I know, I mean, I've been there, and I know when I first started in my executive role, I was how eager I was and how many ideas I had, and then you start getting into the role, and you just can feel overwhelmed sometimes. So get yourself a mentor, coach. They'll help you process information, talk through some things, and it's in a non-threatening environment, and you can talk about the people in your workplace. without fear of retribution, and it'll help you sort through some things. Next, I would say find your find yourself. Uh, I want you to be able to have open communication within the organization. I really believe in transparency and leadership. So I want you to foster a culture of open communication within your organization, and that's going to start with you, right? How you come across as the senior leader is going to trickle down to the other people in the organization. You want people to be able to come and talk to you. I think that's one of the biggest things that you lose when you move into this executive role. When I was the deputy, the associate, I knew everything that was going on into the organization. Why? Because people would come talk to me. Glenn, what's going on? Can you tell me what's going on in the C-suite? Can you tell me what's going on with the executive team? And I would talk to people. People trusted me as the lower leader to communicate and bridge that gap between, say, the C-suite and the managers and other people. And so I felt like I played an important role, a buffer between the CEO and the rest of the people that were working in the organization. And so when I became the executive director, you lose some of that. People don't talk to you as much, and people treat you differently. Even if you don't change, people will treat you differently when you move into these executive roles. A friend of mine was just promoted to general, and the 3-star that oversaw his ceremony was telling him that once you become a general, once you pin on that star, people will treat you differently. You may have been the greatest Colonel '06 ever, friendliest, warmest, but once you pin on that star and become a general, something changes. What changes? Maybe it's your mindset. Definitely the amount of authority and power that you have in the organization changes. But people's attitude toward you will change. So even if you don't make the shift, people will make the shift for you. So how do you foster open communication? That's a important job, and so you make sure that trickles down. Uh, Find some people that will help you do that. Talk to your number two, your number three. Make sure that they're fostering good communication and that people see that you all have good communication between you all, and make sure that you know what's going on. From time to time, you may have to call that line worker. You may have to call uh, uh, those subordinates, sit in on a meeting with them so that they know that you are still a human being. Yes, you are Mr. All Powerful, Mrs. All Powerful uh, CEO, executive director, but you need that open communication in order to do your job effectively. You don't want to have blind spots as the primary leader of an organization. Number 4, we're on 4 now. Work life balance and personal time. Okay, most of us that have moved into these senior leadership positions don't know the meaning of personal time and work life balance, right? We are used to hustling, grinding, executing, getting things done. And many of us are workaholics, right? Right. You're not going to put a slacker, I'm using that word. You're not going to put a slacker in the executive position. Many of us are in these positions because we worked hard to get there. Now, some of you may not have worked hard, but I know I worked hard to get to my role, and I know many people work really hard to get to these executive roles. And I tip my hat to anyone that's serving in a senior leadership role, whether it's a pastor of a church or the primary director of a daycare center. You worked hard to get to that executive role. But now you're going to have some balance because your mind can't be filled 24/7 with work. You're not going to be effective like that. So you need to find some time to actually take a break. Take your vacation. I really didn't need vacation when I was the number 2 person because I still had headspace. I had mind space. But now that you are in this senior leadership role, you need time to decompress. Take vacation. Trust your people to do their job when you're off. Trust your number 2 person. Make them work hard. Because you worked hard when you were the number 2. Remember that? You worked so hard to get to where you are. And also start demonstrating that other people can carve out this time, uh, that can carve out breaks. I try not to call my people. You heard what I said, right? I try not to call my people when they're on vacation or they're out of work. I really do my best because I don't want them calling me when I'm on vacation out of work. And sometimes I still take calls. So I'm preaching to the choir here. Um, but there need to be there's sometimes when you intentionally unplug, detach, and take some time off. And you're gonna have to do that more as the executive than you did in previous roles. I used to wonder why my boss did all these retreats and stuff and would go off. I was like, hey, we got projects to do. Why are you taking all this time off? I'm here working. Yeah, because you as a senior leader have this greater burden on you, this heavier weight that stays on your shoulders all the time. So you need to take more breaks. You're carrying more of the load. Your role is different. Give yourself permission to take some time off to disconnect and to recharge. Because if you are taking care of yourself, if you're demonstrating this to other people, you will create that culture in your organization. Uh, I think people will appreciate it, and then you'll be ready to help and serve them better because you'll be recharged. You'll be ready to go. Also, again, I said a little bit earlier about mentoring and coaching as a way to invest in yourself, but also, again, let's think about doing some professional development. Uh, Keep yourself sharp. We often work in an organization a long time when we move into these roles, or we're shifting to new organizations in some cases, but we have a lot of experience. But things change, and especially in this the world that we're in now, things change so rapidly. So we want to make sure that we're staying sharp. What are you doing to sharpen yourself to learn new things? Maybe you need to learn a little bit about AI now, right? Because that's one of the things that's on the rise. Maybe you need to learn a little bit more about how to manage remote teams, because that's something that's new, right? That's newer now. More people are working from home. So how do you manage uh, this dispersed staff now? You may need some additional tools. You may have to get some additional training. So professional development, investing in yourself is something that should never, never, never stop. You hear me? You hear me? You hear what I'm saying? It should never, 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 never stop. Especially as you move into these executive roles. Make sure you're staying sharp. Make sure you're finding a place to gather new ideas, to learn new things that will help make you more effective, but also will help you find ways to challenge the people that work for you. So those just five tips from me today on our morning coffee break. I hope you're drinking something good, coffee, tea, kombucha, whatever you drink. Enjoy it this morning. Be safe out there. Don't take life too seriously. Life is short. I know you're powerful, you're important, but if you, God forbid, die tomorrow, your organization would go on. So you need to take care of yourself. Executive director, CEO, pastor, leader, I take care of yourself today. I'm rooting for you. But my 5 tips: find a peer network to engage with, get yourself some coaching or a mentor. Make sure you're fostering open communication in your organization. That's going to start with you. Take some time off, work life, personal time, work life balance, all that good stuff. You need to have more balance. I know it's never going to be perfectly balanced in sync, but carve out some time to recharge yourself so that you can be a better leader. And finally, don't forget to continue to invest in yourself in regards to personal development. Continue to learn, continue to read so that you will be a better leader and you'll have more effective teams. Thank you so much for joining me this morning for Glen's guidance and this coffee break early in the morning. Well, it's early for me. Enjoy your day. Thank you very much.